This is Johannesburg, an economic hub also dubbed as the wealthiest city in South Africa. But amidst the glitz and glamour, there is a dark side to the city streets. Hillbrow is a neighborhood known for its notorious crimes, and some of its streets have become drug corners where youths have been swallowed by the grip of addiction. On these streets, on one side, young youths have made this corner their home. Every morning they wake up with their eyes gazed over across the same street, waiting to feed the monster of addiction from their alleged drug lords who also camp here all day, ready to prey on these vulnerable individuals. And in my quest to investigate more about this corner, I was met by this alarming yet painful episode unfolding in front of my eyes. A man injecting heroin in his arm, looking gaunt and desperate. While still alarmed, I was told by one gentleman who looked sober that these tragic scenes are all too common. So I asked him who he was, and after a few minutes of chatting, we sat down just to understand all this. Here, these drug addicts use a method called Bluetooth. This is a method where a drug addict injects drugs into their bloodstream, and sometimes another addict draws out the blood and then injects it into their own bloodstream. So I asked one addict, "How did you start getting into drugs? When did you start? What happened for you to see yourself into this?"
In the beginning, it was a social thing, and then afterwards it became a necessity, especially my drug that I use. I couldn't just use it today and then next week I use it again. It became an everyday thing. And not only that, my body started wanting it more and more, even though my mind was saying, no, I've had enough of drugs. But then the physical allergy comes in where my body was craving, and once I get that, everything just went down. I lost life, I lost my family, I lost my job, I lost the cars, I lost the wife, I lost everything, all because of this small bag here, for that feeling.
What started as a brief escape from reality has turned into a haunting nightmare for these young souls.
It's a small solution for a permanent problem. You understand? It's something small like this. I'm thinking in my mind that it's going to take away all my pains, take away the love, the trust that I lost from family and stuff. Now I use it and then only to realize afterwards all those problems, if anything, it's even worse.
It's heartbreaking to see so many young people succumbing to the lure of drugs. They are our future, and right now that future looks so bleak. I was lucky to meet this man, Malusi Makaula, a former drug addict who knows too well the destructive power of addiction. He was here to share his story and hopefully make a difference in the lives of those who are still trapped in the cycle of drugs. This was once his home. Malusi was once one of them, a promising young man with dreams and aspirations, but the grip of addiction slowly consumed him, leaving nothing behind but a shell of his former self. What made you leave the streets? Because some of them, they are saying it's very difficult to be a drug addict and also leave drugs. But you are one man who has managed, or rather I say someone who has made a choice to say, I don't want to be in the streets again. Here you are, you have been rehabilitated, but we are back to a place where the place that used to be your home.
This place used to be my home. In fact, to be more specific, this place still is my home. I used to pray for maybe 6 months before I actually stopped. Every day, sometimes I would use the drugs, I would smoke, and I would sleep crying, saying, God, but why? I want to stop, I want to way out. And then one day, I don't know how I summoned the strength or anything like that. I actually reached out and I went to these places where they offer help. And it just happened so that day, by God's grace, that they needed one person to go in because one person did not pitch and had given up. Then I went in, and then they put me in, and I went into the system right away. So I was very, very lucky, and I had the willpower and the desire at that time. And then I went into treatment, and then obviously I stayed there for a while. I learned about my addiction, that I have a mental obsession and the disease of addiction, and how to empower myself through strong workshops and going within and learning about this disease of addiction.
He later took me to his place of recovery, and here I was intrigued, seeing former drug addicts trying to build their lives back.
Thanks. So I guess what happened at some point when I was, laying down in my bed, trying to write down my life story, trying to understand my journey and why my life is so unmanageable. So I decided to write down a biography or a journal of my life. From my early beginnings when I was born, as early as I can remember. And I think halfway through I actually realized that my troubles began way before I picked up alcohol and drugs. Never got any counseling, no one spoke to me or anything about it. Life just continued. And it became very depressing because things started to happen in a way that if my dad was alive, they wouldn't happen. But what I didn't realize is that I was also attached to him, and it caused me to have a bit of a void. And then obviously I've learned in recovery and in treatment that, my problem was not the alcohol or the drugs that made my life unmanageable, but it was actually the solution to the problems that I had from within that my own family and relatives could not resolve for me, that came about after my dad died. Yeah.
With the help of dedicated counselors and support of fellow recovering addicts, they are on a journey towards sobriety, attending group therapy sessions, participating in support group meetings, and working on rebuilding their lives.
We empower them on skills like financial skills and finding the ways of generating income, especially homeless people, because some of them, they feel like they are just rejected by the society to a certain degree, or they don't have any hope in life.
Malusi says it's not easy as there are many setbacks along the way, but he refuses to give up. Slowly but surely, he is rebuilding his life. One day at a time, he says he has discovered a newfound sense of purpose and hope. Social development and other stakeholders come in also to help and check the progress of these former addicts.
It was a very painful situation. I feel so painful to see an ex-person who is living in the street. For me, example, I used to sleep on the floor, on the hard floor. I couldn't bath the whole month without bathing. Didn't have a proper meal, didn't have a place to change, didn't have any privacy. During the day, I will go around and ask people for help. In Joburg, people, they don't trust too much. It's hard for you to be helped. So now and then I'll ask for peace jobs. At the end of the day, I must also plan to say where I'm going to sleep, especially when it's raining. It's very bad there. So I really thank the shelter and the MEC and the social development for building such places, because it helped me a lot. When I came here, I came with nothing. Today, as I'm standing here, I'm standing with a certificate that we did here at one of here at our shelter.
They are improving our lives, and we can change other people's life. We are a testimony to change someone's life, to become a better person.
It is clear that drugs have taken a devastating toll on many communities in South Africa. For these drug addicts and others alike are now plagued by the scourge of addiction that is swept through Johannesburg streets, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. However, they have a message for those who might be thinking of trying drugs.
It takes away your goals, it takes away your ambitions, it takes away the love, it takes away the family, it takes away the hope, the trust. Your connection with God gets cut off. Your family won't talk to you. People, the stigma that we have with drug addicts, especially that I smoke heroin and stuff, like we're filthy. I'm in the street. No one can't be trusted. I'll never change. And the more you tell someone negative, it doesn't give room for positiveness and growth for me to believe in myself. You understand? So, check what you do. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
As for Malusi, the streets might have held him captive, but now he walks free, a survivor of his own making. And though the scars of his past may never fully fade, he knows that he is finally on the path towards a brighter future. These Hillbrow streets may still be haunted by the spectre of addiction, but there is also a glimmer of hope on the horizon. With unity and determination, this community can rise above the challenges that confront it and reclaim its rightful place.
These streets are a cruel mistress offering escape, but trapping those who dare indulge in their depth. For these men, the allure of drugs is too strong to resist, but it's leading them to a path of destruction and despair. In Hillbrow, Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani, Siziba.